Coz, great to have you with us. Thanks ever. I know how busy you are at the moment, fella, and for you to just come and spend a bit of time with us on this Inspired by series is amazing. We've been pals for a while. We've been keeping in touch with you. You've been in London, Los Angeles, Leeds, doing a lot of filming that you were doing during lockdown. But I just wanted to share with you some of the stories. Well, I want you to share with us some of the stories about how you broke into film in that first instance, because we had a pint a couple of years ago and I was fascinated by the stories you told us about how you broke into the film industry. And I'm hoping that you might give some inspiration to some renegade filmmakers out there that perhaps aren't as successful, obviously, as you are, but you were once in their shoes, cutting and splicing film. And you've had an amazing sort of moment in the film industry that just keeps going and going. So could you take us back to when it started, Cos? What first got you into the production, like filmmaking thoughts? Was it school? Was it uni?
Yeah, it was very much at school doing my GCSEs. I'd always been fascinated with film and movies, and then I used to basically steal the drama school's camera that they used to film all their pieces on, and used to take it on the weekends and used to make loads of short films, just me and my mates mucking about, typical like trying to be James Bond, you know, starring in them, acting in them, things like that. And then it was really something that as I was doing my GCSEs and A-levels, I thought actually it's something that I really want to pursue. So whilst I was doing my A-levels, I was also started working as a runner for TV shows like Emmerdale. I was a camera trainee for a production company, literally on my weekends, and then actually getting the experience enough to say, actually, I don't want to do this. So I then went to the Northern Film School and got my degree there. But whilst I got my degree at the Northern Film School, I was still being a runner and working on getting as much experience as I could in the industry, a lot of it unpaid work, working on United Carpets and Beds adverts, made thousands of cups of tea, that kind of thing, just to get on the sets. And basically it was, during film school, one of the companies that I was kind of an editor for offered me a full-time job and as a cameraman. So I ended up actually working for a bit for the Discovery Channel, going all around the world, went to Kenya, filming for them, which was, again, straight out of university, incredible kind of journey for someone in, my industry. I just wanted as much experience as I could get. And I was doing that on and off, as well as kind of doing corporate videos and things like that, just because that's where the money was. And, rather than getting an adult job, enabled me to still be creative and do what I love. But the one thing about those kind of things, and even music videos, which I then got into later, they're still not my story. And I think if you're a storyteller or, you want that to be your job, you have to go out and do that. It's not, corporate videos is great because you're learning your cameras and you're getting shots, but it's not your story. So for me, I've always wanted to write my own script. And I think like a million people out there, they have a million excuses why they can't write a script, whether it's down to time, whether it's their lifestyle, they just can't sit down and do it, or they think they're going to do it and it'll be dreadful and they hate that rejection. And I was actually a semi-professional rock climber since I was like the age of 13, and I was 24 and I had a really bad rock climbing accident and I ended up in traction for 3 months in bed. And I kind of thought, well, okay, I've got 3 months in bed now. I'm never going to get this time back. If I don't write a script now, forget that dream of being a filmmaker because you're never going to get this time. So decided to watch. I mean, I'm a massive horror and genre film fan. So I watched all my horror films. I've got thousands of DVDs of like B-movie horror films, and I kind of noticed that they all had these kind of tick lists in, they all had the same kind of structure. So I was like, okay, well, I will write about something that I've got. So what do I have? I've got my dad's camper van. Okay, I'll shoot that with 2 actors. We'll go up to the Highlands of Scotland. So I've got my location. And yeah, spent 3 months writing this script and thought, actually, I really want to get this film made. And took it around to people. I didn't, obviously being from Leeds, didn't really know anybody in the industry. Went to Screen Yorkshire, people like that. And obviously, because I didn't have the resume, I'd never made anything. I hadn't even made proper short films at this point. No one gave me the finance for the film. So I was like, I really want to make this film now. I was speaking to friends and they were like, well, maybe make a short film. And whilst I'd been kind of working for the past, the years since I'd left university, I'd saved around £25,000 to put a deposit on a house and do the adult thing and get a house. And I don't know, it was just one of those moments where I suddenly realized, actually, I should be investing in myself. If you're a tradesman, if you're a plumber, you need the tools for the job.
Exactly. You go buy the van, you buy the kit, you get a business card, you stick the name on the van.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, well, actually, I'm going to take this 25 grand, be really smart with the money, and go and make this film and have it as, you know, I didn't expect anything to happen from this film. I just thought it would be a calling card so that when I write my next script, I can say, oh, I've also made this film, you know, and it might be something that sits on my shelf next to all my other DVDs. And I essentially, yeah, this 25 grand, I was like, okay, well, I can't afford crew, so I'm gonna have to do everything myself, shoot it, produce it, write it, direct it, you know, do the catering, literally everything. Got two actors. And yeah, the camera that I got, I'd just been filming in Ibiza actually the year before, and I had this little Lumix GH2, which is a stills camera essentially. But because I am a bit of a tech nerd, I hacked the firmware of this camera to up the bit rate, so the quality was a lot better. I then went and bought a whole load of old World War II lenses on eBay, which were really old, but like super fast glass. So the camera was probably about an £800 rig altogether, and it looks, you know, the footage looks like I was shooting on one of the, you know, an Arri Alexa or a high-tech camera.
And what do you talk about the firmware? So, so you open up the camera, you've gone in, and then did you go on YouTube to see how you can start chipping the camera?
It's literally what it is you actually download the software on literally a disc, and you just put it into your phone. It's like an SD card, and then it basically, you do it all on the interface of the camera. So I'm not going into the camera and changing the mechanics. It's literally like an upgrade, like you would a PC. But it's yeah, not advisable because you lose the warranty for your camera. You're not supposed to do it at all. But I'd seen these few hacks online, and yeah, literally just YouTube tutorials taught me how to do it. And yeah,
so that was your vision. But then how did you sound everything up as well? So you're saying you were a one-man band in essence, writing, shooting, producing, sound, post-production, editing, and everything else.
Yeah, I did the editing. I mean, I had a sound guy, because actually one of the corporate video jobs that I did, he was a really good mate of mine, and he was like, look, I'll come and do it, because it's not often you get a chance to work on a feature film. I said, look, I can pay you a couple of £100 for 2 weeks. Like, I can't pay you a lot, but you'll be fed, and, you know, be a nice trip. So he luckily came up and did it. But yeah, in terms of the editing, syncing all that up and doing the whole edit, I did all that myself. Yeah. And the color grading and the sound mix, and I got a score. I got a guy to do the music online for me. I met a guy, and he was like, "Can I do the music for you?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So yeah, it was literally from thought to conception to delivery. I think there's probably about 5 people involved in the film. I did everything, and now, you know, I'm on sets where I've got 200 crew. It's kind of
unbelievable. But again, how cool did, you know, that gave you the base plate, didn't it? So because it's like with anything in the business, when you get involved in all aspects of it, you get to understand what's required. So that was ideal training for you, perhaps.
I mean, it really was. It was the best film school I've ever been to. I will always say to people, you know, the best film school is to go and shoot your own movie, because yeah, you literally learn. And then obviously, once I'd made the film, I was like, I want, you know, it's my money I've invested, so I want to get some money back. So then I took it. Yeah, I think I had about £300 left to out of this 25 grand, and I got a plane ticket to Cannes Film Festival. It was only when my lead actress saw it. Like, I didn't really know what Cannes was. I just saw the red carpet, the glitz and glamour. I didn't realize that it was an actual film market.
Yeah.
So she said she saw the film and said, you should try and sell this at Cannes Film Festival. So I literally went along and slept on hotel lobby floors, corridors, on the beach one night, just because I didn't have any accommodation. Kind of went with 50 DVDs in my in a rucksack. And because I've got all these DVDs, I looked at the distributors of these DVDs, and I set up meetings with them. So I think in 3 days, I think I had something like 45 meetings in the 3 days, just quick, you know, from 10-minute meetings to, you know, hour meetings with distributors, showed them, cut a trailer for the film so they saw that. But again, you know, walking into that marketplace, you know, I'm literally there with DVDs, felt like a, you know, flogging my soul, and then just seeing all these posters and just realizing that it is such a huge, not only an industry but a business. You know, it is a money-making machine, film, and that was a massive eye-opener for sure.
But it was, but with that, so how did you line up your 10-minute meetings? How did you line up your hour-long session with a producer sat somewhere? Were you booking slots, or was this you just going and, you know?
So some of them I'd pre-booked, but then others, when you're walking around the marketplace, you can just see the distribution. So I literally, just went to them. Hi, can I just have a quick chat with you? I've got a trailer here for a film. It's totally completed and things like that. And yeah, just really literally flogged all the DVDs, gave them the screeners to as many people as I could. And then kind of came back, not really being a bit deflated, because I was like, oh, this industry is huge. Like, you know, I was there myself. I didn't have any artwork for my film. I didn't have anything. It was just, I felt like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Is that when you question spending the 25,000 in a different?
Yeah, massively. Yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely. I was like, yeah, probably should have bought that house. But I literally, 3 weeks later, got an email from a distributor in America saying, yeah, E1, who you know make the Hunger Games, like huge studio, want to buy your movie, and I was like in utter shock. I mean, I literally burst into tears, because it was like, you know, you put all that hard work into something, and it's like someone other than your mum saying, oh, it's good, you know. But if someone else thinks, yeah, we can make money from this, well done. It was it was amazing.
And let's just say from that point, because this wasn't just a production house in London, for instance. This is one of the largest production houses in the world that's come to you to say, look, we want to take this to the next level. We want to talk to you about it. So an email came through, and then what does the process look like after that, Coz? How did you then engage with them?
They basically, it was all through emails. They essentially just they sent me a contract to say it'll be a 7-year deal. We will get X amount up front. So we'll get the first like 40 grand's worth of sales. Then after that, it's going to be 75-25 to you. We might change the name of the film. We're going to change the artwork. We're going to recut a trailer. But we're going to take it around to all these festivals and get it distributed by E1. So I literally just signed anywhere. I couldn't believe it. I was like, I don't do what you want to this film. Like, this is nuts. So then they immediately started asking for deliverables of like, so they wanted a DCP, which is a digital cinema package. I had no idea what that was. They wanted all this artwork. I had to find a person who spoke German to transcribe it in German, because they wanted it for German, Thai, where else? Sweden, Portuguese, Spanish. So I was literally transcribing it on my computer and then sent it out to all these other people. So they basically asked me for a lot of stuff before they could actually say, okay, we're going to get it out there. And then shipped all the deliverables off to America, and that was very cool. Going to the local post office, and I think it was in Emily, and literally handed this thing, and it was like Sunset Boulevard, Los Angeles. So I was like, it's kind of cool. It was like,
that is amazing. And with that, Coz, so I don't think at the time E1 were there asking you for all these deliverables, and you were like, what to be done? But I don't think they were concerned that you perhaps didn't know. Did they just find in you a great filmmaker that's made a great film? So did they support you within any deliverables, or was it another thing where you had to go off and find what they needed?
No, I totally had to find it. A lot of the stuff that they're asking for, I didn't have a clue what some of the stuff was, or how to do some of this, you know, in terms of the audio formats, and in terms of the deliverables, in terms of the visuals, and kind of the size of the files and things like that. I didn't really know how to do any of that. So it all was a case of YouTubing, Googling, asking mates in the industry. Because it can be quite daunting, but I guess they assumed you're a filmmaker, you should know what you're doing, or you've got a team of people behind you that will do all that for you. And obviously I didn't, it was just me. So it was a great experience, and it's like, you know, I've made 4 more movies since then, and it's now just a case of, you know, it was still the best film school, and it was also still the most creative I think I've been in the film set.
That's interesting. So tell me about that, Coz. So now you're talking about you've got 200 people on set versus you, a couple of actors, and a sound guy. What do you prefer?
I like it's hard, because I quite like the ego of not having to run around and move lights and things like that, and just be sat and be brought constant cups of Yorkshire tea. That is nice. And also I think on a bigger sets, I'm allowed to spend more time with the actors, because I'm not running around setting things up or doing catering or liaising with locations and stuff. But I think in terms of freedom to actually go and film whatever I wanted, the smaller crew was amazing, just because, you know, if we sort of, you know, there wasn't a schedule. It was kind of, okay, we'll shoot this today, this tomorrow, depending on the weather. You know, if you're on a big set, then that's what you shoot. If it's in the schedule, you can't get away with not shooting it. So I found, especially when we were in Italy shooting a movie, there was an amazing thunderstorm, and I was like, oh, we've got to go get this. And all the guys like, no, we're off the clock. And because they're all union crew, it's like, well, we can go do it now, but then we won't be able to start work till midday tomorrow. And that I found really infuriating, is that when you are yourself, you can move at the speed of creative, you know, it's not on a schedule.
And that's where, you know, if it required that you were shooting 24/7 just to get the shots that required at every hour, you'd do it because you bleed for yourself. But obviously, yeah, you're now dealing with a larger industry and people that follow the rules within that industry.
Yeah,
Do you
exactly.
mind if can we just talk a little bit about our film in Italy? So this is Blood Red you're talking
House
about.
Red, yeah, House Red.
House Red. So tell us the process of this, because you've got an extraordinary story behind how this kicked off. So this is where we're beginning to work with more Hollywood A-listers, isn't it? And there's a
Yeah.
couple of friends that came on board to then help you. That's been a big inspiration for you from here on in. So tell us how
Yeah,
that's
it was. So I'd pitched the script around to quite a few people, and I really wanted a really good cinematographer for it. And I'd actually, these two producers that wanted it were like, "Oh, we've got a film premiere. Do you want to come along to it?" So I went to this film premiere, and I clocked this guy at the corner of my eye, a guy called Doug Milson, who's actually Stanley Kubrick's DOP. Now, I'm a huge fan of Stanley Kubrick. Like, he is my god of film. And I remember seeing him, and I remember the person I was with. I was like, I just need to go and like smell this guy, because he's like, you know, he's been in the Kubrick. Yeah, exactly. Try and get some of it, like rub, you know, get some of his magic. But it was like, you know, this guy was on set of The Shining, Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket, like he's cinema royalty. And I remember going up to him and said, "Hi, Doug, I'm really sorry to bother you. I just want to introduce myself and say what a huge fan I am." And we got chatting, and he was like, "What are you working on?" I was like, "We're hoping to shoot a movie out in Tuscany, a horror film." And I said, "Look," I said, "this industry is all about, you know, if you don't ask, you don't get." And I said, I'd love for you to read the script. You know, you've read the, you know, first drafts of The Shining. I'd love to have some notes. You know, I'm not expecting you to come and do it, but I'd really love it if you can just give me some notes, let me know what you think of the script." And I sent him an email, not thinking I'd hear anything back, but literally within 24 hours, he rang me going, "When are you looking to shoot?" I was like, "September." He's like, "Yep, I'll do it." I was like, "What?" We went, "Yep, really love the script." And I was like, wow, okay, I've got Stanley Kubrick's DOP now working on my movie. And I think because of him, suddenly, you know, the film gets a lot more hype than it should, because it's, you know, the guy who did The Shining is now on my film. So it was just incredible. I mean, there was that one moment on that where there was Natasha Henstridge, Tamer Hassan, you know, so not massive A-listers, but names in the, you know, Natasha's obviously famous from Species, Tamer, Football Factory, and The Business, and those kind of British cult movies. And there's about 60, 70 people on the set the first day. We're in Tuscany on this beautiful castle on a vineyard. And I just remember Doug saying to me, "So boss, what are we doing?" And it was just that moment that just hit me going, everyone is here because of something in my head. Like, if I hadn't have written this down, none of this would have happened. And I was just like, it was a real kind of moment of realization of going, this is nuts. Like, this is ridiculous. I've got Stanley Kubrick's DOP asking me what we're doing, you know, or in this castle in Tuscany. It was amazing.
Love it. And did the pressure come where you're thinking, "Oh my God, day one, I've got 70 people here, I've got the DOP coming, and everyone's listening to me."
Constantly.
Did you thrive on the pressure, or did you grab
I think I do. I always thrive under pressure once I'm there, but the build up to it. I mean, I remember when
nerves.
yeah, exactly. Like when my second film, when someone said that they were going to put money into it, I was like, "Oh my God, how do I get out of this?" There's always that wave of fear in you going, "I've now got to prove myself. Like, I can't," you know, I've always used people say fake it till you make it. You know, I constantly have that fear of being like caught out. People are like, how have you got this far? Because it is so scary that suddenly you think, you know, it's very good to, when you're in the room chatting, you can schmooze investors and producers, but then when it's like, okay, here's the money, go do it. It's like, I need to find a bus and step in front of it because I now have to make this happen. And there's always that. But as soon as you get like the night before, I mean, naturally on a film shoot anyway, I won't sleep. I'll probably get, you know, I'll be working for 19 hours a day, because then once we've wrapped, I'll sit with my editor who I'll have on set, and we'll look through the footage of the day and cut it together and stuff. But it's like, I won't sleep. There's certainly the night before the first day, I will never sleep on a film set. But as soon as I'm on set, it's all action stations. And I'm fine.
Coz, how long were you in Italy for on the shoot?
We were there, I think the shoot was 4 and a bit weeks. I was there for 6 weeks in Italy.
And was it a challenging shoot? Because I know at the time, by the way, did you ship your Yorkshire tea bags out? That's one of the diva things.
Yeah, that was the only thing on my rider is Yorkshire tea. I was like, yeah, make sure that's there, otherwise we're not shooting anything.
So you were out there for 4 weeks. Were you on budget? Did anything go skewed? Was the weather kind to you? Did you have any sort of mishaps?
It was no. Do you know what? It was fine. I mean, there was a problem towards the end of the film in that the producers wanted to add an extra a sex scene in this film, which I didn't think had any place in the film, so I refused to shoot it. So yeah, we're kind of it's quite bad at the moment because they went away and shot it without me and without Doug Milson, and it
Wow.
looked dreadful. So at the moment, it's why that film hasn't been released yet, is because I refused to sign off on it. So it was all fine. The shooting was great. Yeah, luckily the weather was fantastic, but yeah. Sadly, they just got greedy and they wanted to do another scene to get some tax breaks, and I just said it's not going in the film. So the film is sat on a shelf somewhere, sadly, until and sadly because of that, I've not been paid for that movie. So
Goodness me.
quite a large chunk of change as well, which is not good because I've not signed it off.
Well, fair play, because that's your integral rights, isn't it? As director, you want the last.
Correct. I mean, the scene is all. It looks like it was shot by a 14-year-old boy on a microwave. Like, it looks great. You know, we had Doug Milson having beautiful shots, and then just to have this, it just really ruined it. And I was like, look, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing this. So yeah, it's a good job. My girlfriend's got a place, otherwise I would be homeless.
Oh,
because the money they owe me.
So was Doug with you for 4 weeks solid?
Yeah, he was, and then we flew his wife out as well for the last week, which was nice. But sadly, his son was actually killed 2 days prior to getting back from Italy. Whoa. His son's a very famous cameraman as well, and Mark Milson he's called, and he was killed on a Netflix show. A stunt went wrong, and he died. So Doug, I spent a lot of time with Doug. Because it was just utterly heartbreaking. So obviously following in his father's footsteps, Doug feels that he's a lot to blame for it, and it's it's really, really sad, really, really sad.
Wow. So with it, I mean, again, looking at the positives of that time, were you drinking good red wine in the hills of Italy, or did you not even get a chance? You know, as you rapped, did you have a good rap party? And it felt, you know,
it was amazing. Yeah, every lunchtime had a nice glass, just one because we still worked in the afternoon. But no, I mean, it was absolutely fantastic just being able to sit there. And we were actually working on the harvest as well. The harvest of the grapes were actually happening whilst we were there. So on one of our days off, we helped pick the grapes. So actually in 2022, our wine is going to be available. So we're all really excited about that. So we're kind of hoping that the film comes out around then, so we can do like a nice promo with the wine.
Get the film signed off, get that scene out, get a wine named after you that you hand-picked, you and the crew. There's a nice sentiment to that. So that's what we're going to aim for.
I think so, yeah.
Now, Coz, I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I'm hoping that later in the year you come back and tell us a bit more, because you've got some plans coming up later this summer. You're going to be heading over to Ibiza. In the middle of lockdown, you shot your short film, which has been highly acclaimed and gone through for a lot of awards nominations. Yeah. And that's on the streets of Leeds, wasn't it? So very quickly, tell us about the first film. Is it Sweet Street?
Sweet Street, yeah, the Leeds film,
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I've always wanted to do it. All my movies have got kind of real life issues and themes within them, although the first few were like horror films. They were about, so the first one, Wandering Rose, the first film was about post-abortion syndrome, and second film was about guilt and grief. So they're all real things that people have. And for me, I'd never shot a movie in my home city of Leeds, and I wanted to try and find a subject matter that was real and unique to Leeds. So when I discovered that Leeds was the only place in the UK with a legal red light district, I was like, well, there's a setting right there. So went down and spoke to a lot of the girls. There's a BBC documentary actually about it as well. Got a lot of information from that. And then I was really struggling to get the finance for this film, because it is very different to my other movies. You know, it's not a horror film, so therefore it probably won't make money. It's a very good festival piece. And actually, I was in Los Angeles in 2019 working. I was there for 3 months. And my friend was like, I'm going to put you in touch with an actress friend of mine who runs a charity for women. I was like, brilliant. Okay, so you're only going to get about 10 minutes with her though. So just don't do a hard sell. Just we'll come back to her. So anyway, I went off to this posh place in West Hollywood, and it turned out the actress was Patricia Arquette. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is nuts. And what turned, it was going to be a 10-minute meeting. I ended up having a 2-hour dinner with her, talking about everything in life. And she was like, you should really make a short for it to show investors and show me, because she was really interested in it. But again, she said, it is so different. It's going to be very difficult for you to raise the money for it. So why don't you go and make a short film version of it? So that's exactly what we did. And it's been going around the festival circuit in 2020, and
I've loved it when you shared it with me. It's beautifully shot. Where can our viewers find it? Can they find it via your website?
Yeah, there's the actual full film isn't on my website, but it's on YouTube. If you just type in Sweet Street short film, there's a couple of companies that have got it on there. I think Britflix host it, and then there's a company called Retrospectives of Jupiter. It's on there as well. So and then the other films are on Amazon Prime and Sky Movies and things like that as well.
It's amazing because there's some beautiful scenes in Sweet Street that I love. One day you had a bloody cold day out on the beach, didn't you, at some point? But the cinematography on that day, mate, was exceptional, and you must have been really proud with how the film came out.
I mean, it is a short film, but I still said it's the best thing I've ever done. Like, I just think just because it's with such integrity in the subject matter, and I think, with the weather we got, like you say, that scene was December the 16th, and we had two actors in their underwear running into the ocean, which was, credit to them. We were just, and again, that could have been, if chances are December 16th, you go to Filey Beach, it's going to be awful weather. We just got, I do sometimes pray to the filmmaker gods, and they sometimes listen, and we just got really, really lucky with everything on that. And we shot it on real film as well, not digital. We shot it on 16mm film, which was really
and you could tell, and it was beautiful, and I loved its sentiment, and I loved the actress as well. You found a diamond there. Is she going to be doing any more stuff with you? Are you going to hope?
I hope so. I actually discovered her she was on House Red in Italy with us, and it was kind of weird because she was going through a really bad divorce at the time, and I just looked at her and said, "You've got the saddest eyes I've ever seen." I was like, "There you go, you can play a lead prostitute." But I kind of looked at her and thought, "You'd be really, really great for this role." So
she was, and it was just right, wasn't it? She was just that part, and I remember when you were telling me pre-production about what your plans were, and kind of weirdly, it was how I visualized what you were going to do with that character. I loved it, mate, honestly. And the people I shared it with think it's fantastic. So we're looking forward to seeing that gain some traction to become a feature length, which would be amazing.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Now, Coz, the last thing is, tell us what you're doing in Ibiza in late summer.
So shooting a movie out there with Leo Gregory, Daniel O'Reilly, and we're going to be doing, it's basically like Blood Brothers, about these two young lads who discover house music in the 70s and 80s, and one of them goes off to become a superstar DJ. The other one becomes a drug dealer, kind of drug lord. And it's about these two boys and their path, and how the music basically takes them on a journey. And they both end up in Ibiza 20 odd years later, and their paths crossing again through the music and drug scene in Ibiza. So
how amazing! So as we're now coming out of these pandemic times, you're hoping that now we've gone green list with Ibiza, is it going to allow you to get your crew, actors, actresses, and everything out there in one foul swoop? Is that the plan? That's
the plan. Yeah, I think so. I think also with COVID, and I think the rules, because we are working out there, I think we can get some exemptions. I shot a movie this February, a feature film in February called The Last Heist, that's going to be out in November. But I think there was a lot of guidelines, a lot of restrictions. Everyone's wearing masks. Only certain people can touch the actors. It does kind of kill a lot of the kind of freedom and the fun of a film set. But we got raided by the police because they thought we were having an illegal rave, and they got tape measures out, and we're taking all hand sanitizers, making sure every 48 hours the entire crew had to get COVID tests. We had two people coming on set, literally every 48 hours to do that. And it was that nervous time after lunch where it was like, is everyone clear? Good, we can go to work. If not, the whole thing shuts down. So it has been an interesting time, but I think, like anything, people are finding ways to work around it and to kind of adopt it, and actually, to have hand sanitizers on set and have be a safe set, I guess, is actually quite good anyway. So
it's coming there. And what will you do in Ibiza in terms? Will there be some of the larger clubber scenes that you're hoping some of the big clubs will be open to gather the atmosphere to fit into the story?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. But the reason we want to shoot it just as the season's ending is because it will give us access to the clubs that have already shut, but also we can get, the beaches aren't going to be dead. It's still going to be people there for all like the aerial shots and the atmosphere shots. There's still going to be that kind of Ibiza vibe, because the last, but also towards the end of the season as well, we're more likely to get access to the clubs without it costing us, thousands of pounds as well, because they'll want the money. So
Absolutely, that's amazing. Well, I'm hoping that post-production in Ibiza, Coz, you might come and tell us how that all went.
Yeah,
If
absolutely.
you don't mind coming back and saying hello to us in the near future, if that's all right, because
Yeah.
I'm conscious of the time because you're such a busy guy at the moment with pre-planning for everything for the shoot. And thanks for coming and spending some time with us. I know that your story is going to resonate with a lot of people out there, particularly those kids of when you once were GCSE A level and
Yeah.
looking to explore and telling your own story. I think that's what I've caught from this is that if you've got a chance to go out there and shoot films, that's great. But if you've got something a story that you want to tell, and you're a natural born storyteller, I know you are, and that's just as good when you tell us stories when we sat down having a pint together. It's for people to just grab hold of the moment, wasn't it? Because it was, you had a
Exactly. I think if you're a storyteller and you're a story maker, a lot of people will have these excuses and have these reasons why they can't. But it's, most iPhones now, if you want to tell your story, go and tell it. Don't wait for anyone to tell you can't do it. Don't wait for, I need this camera, I need this actor. It's like, no, go and use the resources that you have and just go tell your story. And if you're passionate about it, it will get an audience for sure.
Well said. Well, mate, ever since I met you, you've inspired me and you inspire everyone that I know that you meet and that you spend time with. And here's wishing you all the best for later this year and ongoing. I really do hope we get to see House Red come into production in 2022. And maybe we can have a glass of that nice red wine together at some point soon.
It's a day.
Yeah, love it.
No worries.
You take it easy, man, and you look after yourself. We'll see you again soon.
All right, mate. No worries. Speak to you in a bit.
Right, take care. Cheers.